This bunny support for Pill Moon is pretty damn good. Which means I'm currently going 2 for 2. Now Arcana was pretty sweet, and this Pill Moon is pretty awesome. So I can't wait for Gear Chronicle though. But before that, can somebody please get me off of this thing?
Stand up! Vanguard!
Hey Cardfighters, welcome back to another Cardfight update, and today we've got more V-Clan collection reveals as we got the Pill Moon Bunny Beast Tamer support. And you might think to yourself, now hold on a moment, you usually do this per 2 clans, so why are we having this video with only 1 clan, as Pill Moon isn't really something special to you? Well, the reason why we're doing this video right now, you will understand that at the end of this video. But before we get to that, let's take a look at this new Pill Moon support, because they are actually very interesting, and seen as Pill Moon is one of my main clans in V, I am very excited about these cards as it opens up so many different plays and it looks to be a very fun deck to play. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into these cards, and we're gonna start off with a brand new grade 1, which is Amusing Bunny. And Amusing Bunny has the effect, although when this unit is placed on a Vanguard circle, look at the 7 cards on the top of your deck, choose up to 1 card with Beast Tamer in its card name from among them, reveal it, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. If you add it, choose a card from your hand and put it into your soul. So this is something we have seen before with the top 7 searchers, but this is actually way better than any of those top 7 searchers, because it can search out more than 2 cards. It can search out any Beast Tamer, and there are actually a lot. A couple of grade 3s and a couple of grade 2s, so we can consistently fix our right targets, as well as potential combo pieces, because you need to put a card from your hand into the soul. But that's actually something Pill Moon wants to do, because you want to put all your key pieces into the soul to set up for future plays, and this is a nice card that can set that up. So a very nice skill to start off. But it also has another effect, which is auto rearguard circle. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked or boosted, choose one of your rearguards and you may put it into your soul. So this is a nice skill that can set up either combo plays or set up your soul for future turns, or potentially even clear the board for potential retire effects. One thing that can immediately come to mind is the latest Nightmare Doll build, because they revolve around putting your grade 3s into the soul, thus activating your superior right combo attacks with Carol. And now you have another card which can put those Nightmare Doll grade 3s into the soul for free, thus extending the combo even further than it can usually do, which is actually really good. But it's also really good for generic Pill Moon strategies, because it allows you to clear the board for potential superior call targets for multi-attack where you don't want to call over your own units. And interesting enough, it can clear itself because it doesn't specify other rearguards. So if this is a card that you want to clear to make room for the column, or this was an attacker, you can just put itself from the accel circle into the soul and then clear off the accel circle for a future superior call. So overall, a really solid skill. But if we move up to the grade 2, we started to see more of the actual strategy itself, because we have the grade 2 Bunny's Beast Tamer assistant Klorina. And Klorina has the effect, auto Vanguard circle, when this unit attacks, cost, put a card from your hand into your soul, choose a grade 2 or less card from your soul and call to the rearguard circle. This is actually a really good skill, because it doesn't cost you any resources to do this, and it also doesn't cost you any actual cards. You trade a card from your hand with a card from your soul, which actually turns the soul into a second hand. And that's really good, because it means you can build up your hand quite easily with all the extra soul charging that Pill Moon has access to. But there are cards in Pill Moon that gain actual benefits if they're called from the soul, or if a card is called from the soul. And this can set up very nicely for those skills without needing to waste counterblast or soul blast or any type of weird effect that puts you in some kind of restriction. So this is really good for a bit more aggressive plays, but also to get more value out of your cards very early on. But it also has another effect, which also immediately strikes this card as odd and gives us an idea of what's going to happen, because she also has the effect continues on Vanguard circle. If you have a total of 3 or more grade 1 cards with Bunny in their card names among your units or cards in your soul, this unit gets drive +1. So it's a conditional effect where this allows it to be a twin driving grade 2 Vanguard. We've seen this before, like the best example is Blessed Dark, so we're not unfamiliar with this. But as seen as both her skills are Vanguard Circle skills, it looks to be that this card is a very situational turn to play, which also makes it a bit awkward if we cannot utilize it during the later turns of the game. but that will be fixed. But about this particular effect, it sees that we're going to run and rely on a lot of grade 1s with Bunny in their card names. And we got quite a few. We have Amusing Bunny that we just have. We have the grade 3 Searcher, which is also Bunny. We have Brassy Bunny, Midnight Bunny, and all these bunnies are actually really good. They either give us soul, multi-attack, searches, consistency things. So you want to play them in the first place, and that's great that this card and this new engine is going to benefit from playing those cards. But the interesting thing is that it doesn't really need those bunnies to be in the soul. It counts them in the soul as well as on the field, which makes it a bit more flexible because you can get away with just soul charging them or putting them from your hand into the soul with your various skills that we just saw. And you can also just call them to the field if you want to be more aggressive, but they are a bit vulnerable for control. But that's then where Amusing Bunny comes into play, as it allows us then put those bunnies into the soul where they're safe from our opponent's skills. Now that said, you might still think to yourself, now hold up, this is just a turn 2 play card, so what's so great about this card? Well, if we take a look at the grade 3, then we understand the actual value of this grade 2 and a lot of other cards within Pale Moon. Because here we have Bunny's Beast Tamer, Tilaipse. And Tilaipse has the effect, act on Vanguard Circle. Once a turn, cost counter +1. Put 2 cards from your hand into the soul, choose up to 2 grade 2s or less cards from your soul, and call them to the rearguard circle. Then, choose one of your front row rearguards with Beast Tamer in its card name with a different card name from this unit, and that unit's circle becomes a Vanguard circle until the end of turn. We are Gancelot now. So to clarify what this skill actually does, it is similar to the grade 2, where we can put 2 cards from our hand into the soul and call 2 cards out from the soul. So we are not losing in value or in resources. We effectively turning the soul once again in a second hand, which is great for just being aggressive. And with the grade 1 Amusing Bunny being able to put all those cards from the field into the soul, we effectively can reuse the same card over and over again, which is great. But then more importantly, it then allows us to choose any Beast Tamer on the field that's in the front row. It doesn't have to be any of the cards that we superior called from this skill, which means we can choose grade 3 Beast Tamers as long as they aren't Tilaipse himself. And then that unit is a Vanguard. So that means it attacks with drive checks. If it's a grade 2 or grade 1, it's single drive. If it's a grade 3, it's twin drive. Or if it's the grade 2 that we just talked about with both Vanguard skills, she's then also probably a twin drive unit. Now suddenly she makes a lot more sense. But it also allows us to use the skills of those units. And there are a couple of grade 3s within Pale Moon with the Beast Tamer name that are actually pretty damn spicy. We of course already discussed the Bunny Beast Tamer assistant Klorina, which is a grade 2 that's somewhat similar to a grade 3 because it can get twin drive. But we also have the original first VR of the V series, Golden Beast Tamer. And Golden Beast Tamer is actually really interesting because she has an unattack skill which allows us to superior call 2 cards from the soul, which gives us even more multi-attack. But she also has that passive skill which can give the entire front row an extra 3k power, thus making our attacks a little bit stronger. And that then combined with this build can make your attacks actually start to hit like a truck. But we also have the Silver Thorn Beast Tamer, Dorian, which can give this deck an insane amount of draw engine. Because interesting enough, Dorian's skill activates in the Vanguard circle and she doesn't retire herself if she is a Vanguard. So that means we put everything into the soul where it's safe from harm, and as seen as the soul is our second hand, we actually can benefit from this. We then draw a buttload of cards. If we have another copy of Dorian into the soul, we can also add that to hand. And then we're basically set for next turn. And we still have the Dorian on the field, which we can next turn make a Vanguard again if we want to. That's actually not that bad. So there are actually a lot of interesting things we can do with this particular build. And we can try to actually break this archetype. And don't forget, we get Twin Drive without discarding. Because the 2 cards that we put into the soul from this effect, we're going to call 2 cards out of the soul, which is the same amount of value we just paid. So it's not like we're discarding a card or discarding 2 cards to gain the extra drive checks. We're plussing like crazy. And if we then use Dorian's plus engine on top of it, or we used Golden Beast Tamer's multi-attack on top of it, it can start to go crazy very quickly. But there is even more to this, because Tilaipse also has another effect, which is Continuous of Vanguard Circle. During your turn, all of your front row units get power plus 1k for each of your grade 1 units or cards in your soul with bunny in their card name. Very important thing here is that it doesn't ask for different card names, just any card with bunny, and it can be multiple copies of the same type of unit. This can stack up very quickly. As we already discussed, we have about 4 cards with bunny in their card names that are grade 1, so that's our potentially 12 targets. And as I already explained, Golden Beast Tamer have the passive 3k power to the front row, and if we add those power buffs together, our units can easily get an increase of 10k power for every single attack. And it combined it with the multi-attack that's possible with Golden Beast Tamer, Midnight Bunny, and whatever other engine you want to throw in there, maybe a Nightmare Doll Alice or something. Things can start to get out of hand quickly. So overall, I'm very excited about these reveals and cannot wait to try these cards out, as there are so many very interesting interactions you can try and combos that you can think of, because you have this weird interaction with bunnies and beast tamers that we're not used to, and we now have to work with a double Vanguard option where we can suddenly combine 2 Vanguard skills together in a combo situation, unlike where Rising Nova, it's not in one unit. We now have 2 different Vanguards that we can activate on different occasions, which is really interesting. It's a dynamic that I haven't really ever thought about within Pale Moon, as it's never been a thing. But now we can try the experiment. The only potential downside that I see to this particular archetype or this strategy is that because we have a second Vanguard circle, it can be a bit awkward on the very first grade 3 turn with only 1 accel circle, because that means we only have 2 front row circles that are flexible for multi-attacking. And I think that is where Amusing Bunny is going to come into play, because that allows us to at least clear those circles on a more consistent basis without wasting our units if we need to Superior Call on top of them. So probably the first grade 3 turn can feel a bit awkward, but after that, if we can generate the second accel circle, I think it's going to be in a good spot. And also another thing I want to make you aware of, none of these skills say anything about your opponent's Vanguard being grade 3. Yeah, your first grade 3 turn can go nutty if you can go into a Golden Beast Tamer or something, or you just want to farm with Dorian. That can be good. But with that said, I'm very curious what you guys think of these new Pale Moon cards. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of these new bunnies and these beast tamers and about Tilaipse. Are you excited about to try them out? Let me know in the comments down below. But with that said, I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/VanguardInsider. You guys are amazing. If you do want to support the channel or everything that's happening on the channel, you can simply go to patreon.com/VanguardInsider and become a Patreon today. But with that said, I've been Mr. Time Leap, and I see you guys in the next one! It's time, boys!